so I'm not sure if it'll be like a perfect video, but I figured you guys could join me. And I have my glasses on, so of course you're gonna see my computer screen like the whole time, but that's fine. I am studying for physiology, which is funny because I was studying for physiology in my last study with me video. This is a different physiology class though. The last one was for mostly cows. It was about lactation, but it really was just about like all animal lactation. This is mammalian physiology, but it is a class outside of my major that like people who are in pre-med take, and I'm in pre-vet, so it is like a little bit different because it's kind of taking stuff we already learned or the med students already learned and applying it, whereas my physiology class, it's just like it's all the same material, but sometimes there's like different terminology and stuff. But anyway, the exam that I'm studying for, it's like essay based, and we only have 2 exams in this class, no final. So this exam I'm taking tomorrow is worth like 25% of my grade, and it's only 4 questions or 4 or 5 questions, and they're like essay questions, so it's very high stakes because if you don't know one of the questions, like, you're just done for. This is the second of the 2 exams, and I did get 100 on the first exam. I don't know how. I just wrote as much as I could. I'm a very good test taker, even if I like don't know the material. So I'm hoping to do well on this exam too, because I want a good grade in the class, obviously. So this exam is going to be on the renal system and the renal system and the endocrine system, which, if you don't know, the renal system is the kidneys, endocrine is your hormones. So right now I'm studying the endocrine system, and basically what I'm doing right now is I'm going through and studying just the specific mechanisms. So where I just started was I am looking at the mechanism for how a steroid hormone, which is a hormone that will dissolve in fat, basically it's a lipid soluble hormone, how a steroid hormone acts in the cell. So far I have that the steroid hormone diffuses through the plasma membrane in the cell and binds an intracellular receptor, and then the receptor hormone complex enters the nucleus, and then the receptor hormone complex binds to specific DNA receptors. And then I have the binding initiates transcription of the gene to mRNA. Also, I'm gonna be really upset if I like am editing this video and then I am like editing this video and then I hear that it has some like really obnoxious like background noise, because that has happened in skipped class because I didn't want to go. I haven't done anything since. I don't know. I just had I had a really bad day at work, and this week has been I've just been really tired this week. I have an 8 a.m. class on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I work on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9, and I just have been exhausted and studying every day, so, and I go to bed, or I have, I don't study past 10 p.m. It's just, a rule I've come up with this last year, and my grades have gone up, actually, so I don't study past 10, but now it's almost 8, and I haven't even started. Not that I've been studying this all week, but the exam's tomorrow, so not great. Because you need to have your initial look through of all. If you guys need studying tips, I'll tell you how to study, okay? This isn't to sound arrogant, okay? Because it's a learning curve, and I've just put in the time. It has nothing to do with smarts. It's about having a good study strategy. And I'll tell you what, I get at least a 95 on every exam I take, and it doesn't matter the class. So if you need to know how to study, this is how you do it. You have to write. Reading stuff isn't gonna help you at all if you're just reading. It's not gonna get in your head, you know? So, for example, what I did for this class is either for the first exam, we're gonna see which one works better. For the first exam, I read the chapters in the textbook, and I took notes on them, and I made sure as I was taking notes, I wasn't just writing. If you're writing something and what you're writing isn't clicking in your head, it's not gonna click on the test either. You need to make the effort as you write it to either conceptualize what you're writing down, or if that's not working, Google it, do the research to figure it out as you go. Then, while you're writing, identify the notes that you're taking that seem the most important, the most complicated, or the most in line with things that your teacher emphasizes in class. Those things, put a star next to them. Then, when you finish going through all of the material for that exam, go back and look at the starred things and write them out again. And I like to do that on a whiteboard because honestly, just changing up what you're doing can really just cement it in your mind. Writing it down on a whiteboard and on paper, it just then you can remember writing it, and the facts will come to you easier. Because if you're writing it on paper, it can kind of get muddled up because you write so much stuff on paper. But if you're taking the effort to write it out on a whiteboard with different colors, take a picture of it too, rewrite it, it'll just be so much easier to recall it as you're taking the test. Anyway, maybe everyone else has already figured that out, who knows, but let's get back to this. So this is what is this? This is a mechanism that the med students have learned already that I have not learned. It is another amino acid hormone, but this is BIP2, and it's a calcium mechanism. So it basically works the same as the other one. So the hormone binds to the receptor. The receptor activates G protein. It's just pictures on this one, so I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go. I think that G protein bonds to phospholipase C, but I'm seeing a little thing that says PIP2, so I'm going to say that PIP2 Calcium activates calmodulin. Jeez, that car was very, very loud. There's like a chart on here that I would really like to copy down, but it does not load. And I have tried the other day, so, and I know he's gonna ask me about it, so that's too bad. I'm scared for this test, but like, I don't want to be anxious anymore, you know? I just want to be done, like, worrying about tests and grades, and I wanted to be, like, chill about my grades this semester, but then I was just doing really well, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll just keep doing well, but it's so, like, stressful, because if you have, like, because I'm taking 5 classes, I have a 100 and 4 of them, and then a 97. If you have a 100 in a class, the only thing you can do is bring that grade down, you know? Like, it can't be like, oh my gosh, if I get an 80 on this test, like, I'm gonna bring up my grade. No, all I can do is take my grade. There's nowhere to go but down, and that really just adds a lot of stress to the situation. Do I need this? Like, you can't zoom in on these slides, which is tough because I'm looking at these like tiny little charts. Been filming for 20 minutes. I don't know how that could possibly be. It's a little stressful though. What does that say? This is about the posterior pituitary. So the one hypothalamic neurons synthesize oxytocin or antidiuretic hormone. 2. Oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone are transported down the axon of the hypothalamic hypophyseal tract to the posterior pituitary. Three. Oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone are stored in the axon terminals in the posterior pituitary. And 4. When associated hypothalamic neurons fire, action potentials arrive at the axon terminals, causing oxytocin or ADH to be released into the blood. he's just a chatty guy, and he's not really great at clarifying what is the information that we need to know and what is him just like having fun talking to us. And it makes it pretty tough sometimes. Growth hormone has anti-insulin effects. Insulin prevents lipoplasm. makes a T4 and a DIT and a MIT makes a T3. And T3 and T4 is just the names for the thyroid hormones. I really need to learn about all the like calcium mechanisms in the body, but to be honest, he doesn't have very good graphics for those. I wonder if I can like find my own, because I know he's definitely gonna ask me about that. Let's see. So when you're parathyroid hormone, your parathyroid gland is attached to your thyroid gland and it releases PTH, parathyroid hormone, and parathyroid hormone regulates all the calcium in your body. Or what else? Something else does too. There's something else that does too. I think it's calcitonin maybe. But PTH makes it so that you have more calcium in your blood because your heart uses calcium to make electricity. And basically it like breaks down your bones. So if you have a tumor on your parathyroid gland that releases calcium all the time, then get spongy bones. Okay, so the parathyroid hormone, low blood calcium stimulates parathyroid glands. Activates osteoclasts, and osteoclasts are like things on cells in your bones, and they release digestive enzymes, I think, that breaks down your bones to release the calcium. Increases calcium absorption in the intestines. And increases calcium reabsorption in kidneys. And the last two promotes activation of vitamin D. And then I move on to the adrenal glands, which are very complicated. So I suppose I should say goodbye because it feels like I've been filming for 5 minutes, but apparently it's been 40, which when I edit this it'll probably be, I don't know, like 30, but anyway. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that when I watch this back, it is a good video and I can upload it. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any requests for future videos. I just